Good morning. I'm Sarah Cottingham Page, and I thank you all for coming. It's a nice crowd of young students. It's great to see your focused faces on your future. I live in St. Augustine, and I retired in 2010 after 31 years in education. I was a high school guidance counselor for 18 years and a Spanish and French teacher for 13. All my years were spent in public high schools. Unfortunately, Dad died in 1981, and I became a counselor in 1990, so we never got to talk about the field of guidance, or I should really say I was never interested. On reflection. My father was born at home in the house in Charleston, Illinois in 1913. He was an only child. His father was a plumber and his mother was a homemaker. When asked why he went to college, my father said, "I actually just went because the school was in my hometown. It was expected of high school graduates, and my parents felt that this would be a good experience for me in getting a job." After graduating from college in 1935, he took a teaching job which involved social studies and business, which then was called commerce. And along the way, he spent a year enrolled in a business college to become fully qualified in the field of business education. I believe it was Dad's contact with the business students that led him to become interested in helping students find an appropriate career. And then I think from the career focus, it eventually drew him into also personal counseling. One of his first, I used to look at some of the things he wrote and I couldn't understand any of it, but he started writing early, and then one of his first publications was in April of 1945. It was entitled Program for the Readjustment of Demobilized Service Personnel and Displaced War Workers. So that gives you an idea of the era. I wonder if displaced war workers was referring to women, I suppose. Okay, anyway, that you can fill that in later, John. In September of 1945, he authored another article titled Occupational Guidance in Junior College. During his career, he authored 11 book reviews, 18 books and special contributions, and over 37 articles in professional journals. While working on his master's degree to qualify as a business teacher at Indiana University in 1943 to 1945, Dad had the opportunity to take courses in guidance and counseling. And at that time, he realized he enjoyed the classes in measurement, which I guess we're going to talk about today, philosophy, and educational psychology. At the time, in the 30s and 40s, guidance was a subsection of vocational education. Finding that the guidance program fit his interests more than the business, Dad switched to getting his EDD in guidance with a minor in business. In 1948, he accepted the job here at FSU in the Department of Psychology. By then, he had been married to my mother since 1941 and had 2 daughters in tow. He remained at FSU until his death in 1981 at the age of 67, which is, you will come to know as young. Right, Jim? Yeah. With FSU as his foundation, Dad continued to advance the growth of counselor education and counseling in the schools. He was always seeking new opportunities to learn and to teach. One way he was able to reach out to other academic institutions was through summer programs, workshops, teaching. He either sought out or was asked to teach classes or workshops at various universities and colleges around the country. In this way, our family was able to spend time together and see new parts of the country. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's okay. There we go. That's a crude little map there. In the summer of 1945, this is all the family that was minus me at Arkansas State College in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I hope you all can find all the states. I guess they're labeled good. In 1948, we were at Colorado State College in Fort Collins, Colorado. 4 years later, in 1952, we spent the summer at the University of Iowa in Iowa City, and I actually do remember that. The summer I most remember was spent right outside Boston, Massachusetts, and Sharon, Massachusetts. From Sharon as a home base, we were able to explore the Northeast. The next memorable summer was in 1958 and was spent in Los Angeles at the University of Southern California, where we stayed in a fraternity house, and we were there for 6 weeks. I remember feeding the pigeons, and the house mother there didn't really like me attracting pigeons, but I remember Knott's Berry Farm, I don't know if it's still up there, Disneyland, and Hollywood Bowl. In the early 60s, we spent 1 week at Ole Miss in Oxford, Mississippi, and what I remember there is that we did a lot of laughing and we had no air conditioning. And we were in a dorm room. In 1966, we spent 2 weeks in Eastern Washington State College in Cheney, Washington, and I think we were in a dorm then as well. By 1968, though, Rebecca and I were both in college, so we did not get to enjoy 2 weeks in Provo, Utah at Brigham Young University. Also that year, Mom and Dad spent a full year at Fordham University in the Bronx. Their last extended stay was in 1974. It was on the Air Force Base in Wiesbaden, Germany. And they had a semester there, and I believe it was a semester, and they first went around Europe, and we didn't get to visit them there, unfortunately. In order to give you more information about Harold Cottingham, I brought a few photos from the family archives. You'll see the house he was born in. His mother and aunt are sitting on the front steps with me and Rebecca. This is in Charleston, Illinois. You'll see Mom and Dad together, and a record player cabinet Daddy built. I think he kind of got into woodworking. He tried. He didn't have a lot of time. He also made us a jungle gym for the backyard, and you will see him with his pride and joy, which was his 1931 Model A Ford, which I have had until a year ago this past February. I decided that I would have it be in a place where it would be used. So, can you straighten those up? I don't know that person. Before my final remarks about Dad, I want to say that he was able to enjoy a full professional life, a family life, and a community life thanks to our mother, Violet Cottingham. As a former English teacher herself, she, like many, many women of that era, chose and was able to stay at home and facilitate the lives of all of us. When I was in middle school, she went back to school at FSU and got her master's degree in library science. She was hired immediately at the Stroger Library, where she remained until my father's diagnosis of leukemia in late 1978, at which point she retired. When asked about his childhood, Dad credits his mother with these words: "I don't think she ever imposed heavy controls on my life because, as I recall, I made a good number of decisions, especially after high school, on my own. My mother always gave me much encouragement and yet offered me an implicit model of openness, tolerance, and patience. I guess much of my humanistic values and style, as you call it, could be due to this type of exposure." I think that Dad's philosophy of being and counseling can be captured in his presidential address at the American Personnel and Guidance Association convention in 1966. His speech was entitled, "The Challenge of Authentic Behavior." And Dad offered that, and I paraphrase, "Authentic behavior is an important factor in greater understanding of human beings, as well as a more effective utilization of one's potential, particularly in interpersonal relationships." In Norm Giddens' interview in 1979, which was 2 years before Daddy died, my father says that the moral obligation of the counseling and guidance profession to set a high standard of personal integrity as a matter of public image and individual difference is very great indeed. And at the end of the interview, Dad said, I also attempt to exemplify helping skills, academic knowledge, and a willingness to grow personally myself. In essence, I want to respond to student concerns, model helping skills, attend to affect, and constantly reassess my attempts to follow these principles. These are my responsibilities, my challenges, and indeed my professional obligations. I hope this gives you a little insight into my dad, and I wish you all luck in finding, I'm stuck to the podium. Thank goodness I got loose. Thank you so much for coming and listening, and now my sister Rebecca Cottingham has her remarks to give.